Crown 86 comes to an end, our finish line. And what a finale we have in store for you. 4 championship races with over $2 million at stake. We're at magnificent new Garden State Park in Cherry Hill, New Jersey for tonight's crowning episode. When the night began, we started with 56 of harness racing's finest trotters and pacers, headed by Redskin in the 2-year-old Colt and Gelding Pace. Follow My Star is the choice in the 3-year-old filly Pace. And the 3-year-old Colt and Gelding Trot seems like a rematch of the Hambletonian, with Royal Prestige and Nuclear Cosmos battling for the title. And finally, Amity Chef looms the favorite in the 3-year-old Colt and Gelding Pace. Let's take a look at the history of this glamour division.
Far outside, as they come around the turn to the head of the stretch, and they're driving toward the finish. Troublemaker is taking the lead from the outside. Coming down the stretch toward the finish. As they come down the stretch, Troublemaker is the leader now as they come down the stretch, then Guts from the outside. And coming to the finish, Troublemaker in front at the finish.
Whitson's Wizard and Anxious Robbie rounded out. 3/4 time, 127 flat. This is it. He's coming home, folks, and it's the leader. That's Annihilator with Bill O'Donnell on top. Chairman of the board is second, and moving up on the outside, Dan Garvin through the stretch. It's the 3-year-old Pacing King. The 3-year-old Pacing King is now regaining his throne and capturing the crown like a winner. Annihilator in front.
And Bill O'Donnell drove both of those horses, Troublemaker and Annihilator, to victory, and he tries for a 3rd straight 3-year-old Colt and Gelding Pace in the Breeders' Crown here. But let's take a look at the competition. Here's number 1, Masquerade, and that's Richie Silverman.
One of 3 sons of Niatros in the field. He's coming off of a big win in the Pilgrim Consolation. He's drawn well, and you can be sure that Richie Silverman will be flying out of the gate to protect his position.
Now, there's an entry here, KEYSTATE Hanover, Ray Remen with number 1A.
Here's a great long shot, purchased by Lou Guide and Associates last year. He was almost immediately sidelined with injuries. After a year's layoff, he is just beginning to show what he can do.
And 3 for the price of 1. 1B is Cash Asset with Buddy Gilbert.
The weakest part of the entry, he was a phenomenal early season's colt, but he has tailed off in the second half of the year. He's drawn the outside post, and he's in serious trouble from there.
I'm in serious trouble. I got the shivers here. How about Wilco's data with Ted Wing, the 2-horse?
An extremely fast son of storm damage. For a brief time, he looked like the best colt in the country, but he got sick, and he's just now starting to make a comeback.
Ellie, you remember how it used to be when it was warm?
Oh, sure do.
Let's take a look at the 3-horse Armbro Emerson with Walter Whalen driving.
A winner of only $21,000 as a 2-year-old, and he now has $920,000 earned as a 3-year-old. He finished second to Robust Hanover last week in the Pilgrim here at Garden State Park, and has to be considered one of the top choices.
Now there's Amity Chef with John Campbell.
One of the great yearling purchases of all times at 12.5. A win tonight would send him over the $1.5 million mark. He's been a spectacular colt this year.
And Towner's big guy, Ron Waples, number 5.
He was a superb colt at 2, winning over $400,000 this year. He was a colt to be reckoned with early, but he hasn't been into his best coming into this race.
But let's remember the evening that Waples has had here, and I love to bet a driver going for his 3rd winner of the night. Here's Southern Gentleman, the horse, number 6, Peter Rosito, the driver.
The most expensive yearling purchase in the field at $205,000. He's been earning money against these colts recently, but he seems to have a hard time reaching the winner's circle.
And the draw puts number 7, Robust Hanover, on the outside in this field, and Bill O'Donnell tries for another victory in this division that he owns.
Well, this paint-sized millionaire cost $8,500 as a yearling, and he's been at the top of his game lately. He beat all these colts last week in the Pilgrim. He is the reigning Breeders' Crown champion, and he has a great chance to repeat it, Dave.
So that's it. The 8th race here, worth over $500,000. 3-year-old Colts and Geldings on the pace. A 3-horse entry, Amity Chef and Robust Hanover, back after these words. Let's take a look at the odds update for this, the 8th race, as we get ready for post time. 3 for the price of 1. Masquerade, KEYSTATE Hanover, and Cash Asset 5-1. Wilco's Dad is at 3. 7-5 for Amity Chef, and on the outside, Robust Hanover at 4-1. Ellie, what about familiarity in here? 7 of these horses were in the Pilgrim and 2 in the Consolation, and I have a feeling that they know each other so well, they know the styles of the racing, that maybe it might affect the driving strategy early.
Well, it may and it may not, Dave. Seeing that these colts all raced against each other last week, the one horse that was unfortunate was AMITY Chef. He had very poor racing luck, and I think tonight that if he can win this race impressively, I think that he has a very good chance at winning his divisional honors.
And what about the horses who are not here? First of all, Laugh.
Well, speaking of horses that aren't here, Laughs, unfortunately, he's been sidelined with a very serious illness. He was the winner of the Meadowlands Pace and an outstanding colt early in the year, but like I said, he's been sick and just couldn't make the race.
And last week we heard that Barbary Spur was a possibility, but not so.
Well, Barbary Spur, talking about the revenge factor again, he was defeated by Robust Hanover last year in the 2-year-old Breeders' Crown. And I know they wanted to come back so bad to try to beat him tonight, but unfortunately he was sidelined with injuries and couldn't make the race tonight either.
So, but what we do have, though, is a dynamite race. And interestingly enough, Ellie, you want to make a pick in this one?
I like AMITY Chef. I think last week he got messed up completely in the race. He never had a shot at all. And I really think tonight he's got a better post position, and Robust Hanover, he has the worst of the 2 post positions. So I really like AMITY Chef.
Well, maybe we better find out who Alan likes and who he thinks are the major contenders in here. So right now, let's switch over to the winner's circle, and here's Alan Kirsten.
I'll tell you one thing I would really like is to get warm. Fortunately, the excitement of a 3-year-old colt pace of these kind of horses is enough to keep me warm. And there's one horse in particular that's here tonight. His name is AMITY Chef, and he is a brilliant horse. A son of the underrated stallion French Chef, AMITY Chef has kept his edge through a long, hard 1986, a tribute to his young trainer, Blair Burgess. In the Pilgrim Elimination, which will be coming up shortly, the Chef was cooking with gas, raising the burners to high as he strolled away from his competition. He's a late-charging son of a gun, but here you see John Campbell had hustled him out to the front. Masquerade, who's in the field tonight, will make a break there, and that will be about it. John Campbell will pretty much rest easy as AMITY Chef just strolls away, like I said, from this field. Yet in the final, we'll see why they don't give out purse checks until after the race is contested. Chef is stuck in traffic, and 2 great colts, Armbro Emerson and Robust Hanover, were ready for him.
Opens up a length lead to the outside. Towner's big guy second. Wilco's data now out for racing room, and on the extreme outside, Robust Hanover and AMITY Chef. But Incredible Benelli is still there. Robust Hanover and AMITY Chef flying on the outside. Robust Hanover takes the lead. AMITY Chef trying to close.
And
Armbro Emerson, it's Robust Hanover by a neck.
And I do think AMITY Chef might be able to turn the tables tonight. Let's go back to Dave Johnson.
Well, joining me here as we get ready for this race is my good friend Bob Hayden, who is a wizard with the statistics and a pretty good handicapper. When you go to a racetrack and you don't know too much about what's going on, you always have to find somebody who does, and this is my guru. I do like Ron Waples, so going for his 3rd winner of the night, and can you add to that?
Yeah, I can. That's my pick in the race, too. Towner's big guy. He's 20-1 in the morning line. Last week he was uncovered. He finished 5th, got beat a length and a half. Remember, Towner's big guy peaked early in the year. 3 weeks before the Meadowlands Pace, this was a hot horse. Everybody's picking him to win it. He got a little physical problem. He hasn't come back since, but there's one interesting angle I think a handicapper may want to look at. It's a full brother to Luster's Big Guy. And Luster's Big Guy is the fastest horse ever to race in the month of January. We're certainly right now in a night that looks like a January night. I think he might have a chance. 2 millionaires in the race. Robust Hanover, AMITY Chef. I think they both can be beat.
And how do you see the race setting up, Bob?
I think AMITY Chef has to lead the gate. Robust Hanover is too much of a closer in this race. You don't want to be on even terms with a horse like this turning for home. If he's on even terms, 5th or 6th, he wins the race. I think Towner's big guy, though, one big brush, Ron Waples, you never sell that man short.
Okay, well, we'll let him get to the mutual windows. We'll take a look at final prices, or at least close to it, as we get ready for post time. The 3-horse entry at 7-1, Wilco's data at 4.5, Armbro Emerson is at 6, 6-5 the price on AMITY Chef, the horse that Ellie and Alan are so high on, and 13-1 the price on Towner's big guy that Bob likes. Southern Gentleman is at 30, and Robust Hanover, who was victorious in the recent Pilgrim in 153-2, with Bill O'Donnell trying for his 3rd straight win in this event at 3-1. Alan?
Both Amity Chef and Robust Hanover have stamped themselves as horses that like to come from the back of the pack. So don't expect to see either of them, who I feel are the two best horses in the race, involved in much of the early action. Some of the longer shots will be responsible for that. Masquerade and WILCOS Data are both driven by very aggressive drivers. They both have a lot of gate speed. But Armbro Emerson has made a living this year and just about $1 million, racing primarily on the front end. He tried to change his tactics last week for driver Walt Whalen, and he raced him from behind, and he raced very well. But Armbro Emerson has drawn inside his main rivals, and you can expect to see Walt Whalen return to his tactics of going out and winging. If you want a good long shot, I think he's a third of the entry. KEYSTATE Hanover, a very highly regarded horse last year, who, like Ellie said, is just really beginning to come into his own. But Amity Chef and Robust Hanover, well, the race last week was won because Amity Chef got moving very late. He was very far back, and Robust Hanover was closer up in the flow of outside horses. And Amity Chef, although he paced his last quarter in a blistering 26-4, he just couldn't make up that kind of ground, especially when Robust Hanover had the jump on him. But tonight, the tables are turned. The post positions are different. Amity Chef is drawn in the middle of the pack, while Robust Hanover will be starting second from the outside. And this week, Amity Chef will be able to get the jump on Robust Hanover. He will be out and moving early. Campbell could choose to either brush him to the lead or pull him and wait for someone to pull in front of him. He's a very patient driver, and he might try that tactic. But Robust Hanover will be the one who will have to try and catch Amity Chef in the stretch tonight, vice versa from last week, and I don't think it'll happen. Dave?
Well, a lot of the folks here who are enjoying the evening enclosed in the warm grandstand at Garden State, and a big crowd it is, over 21,000. That's 6,000 more than their record crowd of all times here, waiting for the event of the 3-year-olds to move behind the gate. And what about those 3-year-olds as we're a minute before post? You talked about maturity.
Well, it's usually you follow a pattern, Dave. A lot of times you'll see 2-year-olds that are tremendous, and they come back as 3-year-olds, and they're not really that good. But then there's the case where the 2-year-olds that don't develop early become tremendous 3-year-olds. They grow more muscle. They just become a stronger animal. And here we come with, you know, a world champion. Now, on the other hand, you take a horse like Little Robust Hanover. He was fabulous at 2 and just continued through his career, and he's just as great at 3.
And he's certainly an eye-appealing horse as he makes that big move from the back of the pack.
Oh, he's tremendous. He's got a burst of speed in him, and he's just so little, and he's got these little legs, and he just goes 100 miles an hour as opposed to a big horse that takes a long stride. And it's amazing if you're dealing, like, say, a bigger horse. A bigger horse will wear maybe a 60-inch hobble, a 62-inch hobble. Little Robust Hanover, I'm not quite sure what he wears, but I would have to take a guess that it's anywhere around a 54, maybe a 55-inch hobble.
Somebody out there saying, what's a hobble?
Well, a hobble are the straps that you see around the pacer's legs. They help them stay on gait. You don't usually see too many free-legged horses, but there's a perfect example. That's Little Robust. And you see those little straps around his legs? Well, that helps those little legs go 100 miles an hour.
And does it help him keep them on gait?
Oh, definitely, by all means. Like I said, you'll see very, very few pacers that don't wear hobbles. But in fact, we do have one in here. Masquerade is a free-legged horse, the #1 horse, and he's going without the hobbles.
A quick look at the hobbles, and now a quick look at the odds as we get ready for the 4th and final event on this finale of the Breeders' Crown 1986. 8-1 on the 3-horse entry, 6-1 for both WILCOS Data and Armbro Emerson. Amity Chef holds as the odds-on choice. 18-1, big price on Towner's Big Guy as Ron Waples tries to win his 3rd Breeders' Crown event. Southern Gentleman, a big 40-1, and Robust Hanover, the little guy on the outside who will be flying at the finish, is at 3. They're all on gate, and we're ready for this, the final event of the Breeders' Crown finale here at the Garden State Park. Here's the call.
KEYSTATE Hanover is first to leave. Armbro Emerson is right there to the inside. WILCOS Data is also out fast. And from the outside, it's Towner's Big Guy. But KEYSTATE Hanover quickly clears and grabs the lead. Armbro Emerson is second. WILCOS Data third. Parked down and moving up, Towner's Big Guy from 4th. Masquerade has come away pacing 5th. Amity Chef follows 6th. Then it's Southern Gentleman, Robust Hanover, and Cash Asset is the early trailer. They go by the first station in 29-1. The pace is just a moderate one as they move on to the backstretch. Towner's big guy up to take control. Armbro Emerson is off the rail and moving up. Armbro Emerson now with a quick brush going for the lead. Also Masquerade on the move to the outside. KEYSTATE Hanover quickly shuffled back to fourth. Southern Gentleman is into the outside flow along with AMITY Chef. Then it's farther back to WILCOS, down to Robust Hanover, and Cash Asset continues to trail. But as they near the half mile, Masquerade up to take the lead. They're halfway home in a flat 58 seconds. On to the far turn, and Masquerade gets the lead. The lead is a length and 3/4. Armbro Emerson is giving chase second. Towner's big guy third. AMITY Chef racing uncovered in fourth. Southern Gentleman with cover. He's got about 3.5 lengths to make up. And farther back to KEYSTATE Hanover. Robust Hanover racing third over. And to the inside, WILCOS Data and Cash Asset. But as they go by the 3/4, Masquerade is moving well with the lead. Armbro Emerson right there in the pocket second. 3/4 in a flat 1:27. They're into the stretch, and Masquerade is cleared by 2. Armbro Emerson up out of the pocket to challenge. AMITY Chef is there to the outside. Towner's big guy toward the inside. And Robust Hanover on the extreme outside. But Masquerade is still there. AMITY Chef in a late burst of speed from Robust Hanover. But they will not get Masquerade, the Breeders' Crown champion.
And Richie Silverman, who has to be the youngest driver in this race, I think he's just about 22 or so, and the son of Jerry Silverman, the trainer. And Jerry must be wearing a smile as big as Richie's right now, as Masquerade pulls an upset here, and starting from post 1, just goes to the front, never looks back, and Masquerade is the unofficial winner of the 3-year-old Colt and Geldings Pace. And let's take a look at the stretch drive again. Robust Hanover on the outside will be flying as Bill O'Donnell tries to win it again in this division, but it is not to be. As the free-legged pacer, that's the only one without the hobbles, as we talked about before the contest. Masquerade, a winner by 4 last out in 1:55, comes home tonight and defeats the best in the land. It's Masquerade coupled with KEYSTATE, Hanover, and Cash Asset, the unofficial winner of the 8th race, the Big Pace, worth $543,000. That's Richie Silverman, that's Masquerade, and we'll be back after this. And as Masquerade returns to the winner's circle, a lot of his fans are going over to collect 2140, 740, and 210. The 210 because of AMITY Chef finishing third. Robust Hanover at 540 and 210. AMITY Chef pays $2.10 to show. Let's go to the winner's circle and Alan.
I'm joined here by one of the most promising young drivers in harness racing, Richie Silverman, the youngest driver ever to win the Breeders' Crown. Richie, how old are you?
22. I just turned 22 November 4th.
And was this your greatest victory in harness racing?
100%.
We're going to go to a replay here. Masquerade was involved in the early action as he tried to protect his rail position, but here he comes again, swooping for the lead. Richie, did you know the horse can move this fast?
Yeah, Masquerade has been a great horse for us all year. He's had a little, he's free-legged, so you can't start him up real quick, so he's much better. I learned from the week before, you know, if he could just grind out his own mile a little bit, and get away from himself, and it's all on his own there.
You raced him very aggressively after leaving the gate fast. Here you made your move, yet the fractions were relatively soft. Did you expect that you would be able to get away with such slow fractions?
Well, not at the beginning of the race, but as it turned out, I realized I had a pretty good hold of him when we went by the quarter, and I knew we weren't going that much, so I thought I might as well take a shot here and give it a whirl.
Somehow you managed to get around the last turn without any real challenges coming. Armbro Emerson was breathing down your neck a little bit, and AMITY Chef had been grinding a long way. Who are you looking for right now?
I was looking for Armbro Emerson to be right there, and I was looking for O'Donnell and Robust and AMITY Chef also, but I knew I got away a little cheap for the 3/4, and they'd have to come a good way to come to beat me tonight.
Richie Silverman, congratulations on winning the Breeders' Crown, his biggest win as a driver. Let's go back over to Dave Johnson.
I'm here with Jerry Silverman, the proud trainer and the proud papa of the winning driver. Which are you more proud of?
I'm more proud of that boy. That boy.
Well, tell us about Masquerade, though.
Masquerade was a horse, a colt, that last year hated his hobbles as a 2-year-old. He had tremendous ability. He told us he didn't want him, so we tried all winter long to get him to go free-legged.
And he certainly can.
Right, Dave, right.
And were you expecting big things tonight?
We sure were, Dave. We saw his last race, which was in a lesser company. He just was idling, going through the lane and finishing. He's been a horse that got run into a little bit in the Little Brown Jug. had little ailments after that when he stepped in Bill O'Donnell's wheel in the Adios. So he's had his problems, but man, he's been a great horse, a great competitor.
Well, Jerry, congratulations. Jerry Silverman, the trainer of the horse, the father of the driver. They need you for the trophy presentation, and we need to take this break. So we'll take one more pause, and then we'll be back at Garden State for more Breeders' Crown Activity 1986 after this. And from top to bottom, here's the official finish of the Colt and Gelding Pace, Masquerade, Robust Hanover, Amity Chef third, Towner's Big Guy. The long shot was fourth, followed by KEYSTATE, Hanover, Armbro, Emerson, WILCOS, Data, Southern Gentleman, and Cash Asset. We saw 2-year-olds, we saw 3-year-olds. It was an exciting evening of racing here, especially in the 2-year-old division. And by the way, I think Austin Rosberg out there is having a 2-year-old birthday tonight. And we're to look forward for those 2-year-olds coming back as 3-year-olds next year. We're also really, it was a very interesting series. I enjoyed traveling around to all the different racetracks in this series, to Garden State and Freehold, to the brand new track at Canterbury, the fantastic architecture and the hospitality at Scioto, the fun at Louisville and Pompano, and the excitement with Forrest Skipper out at Los Alamitos.
I enjoyed it myself, Dave. I train horses in the area, so I only get to go to New York and New Jersey, so it was terrific going to all the other racetracks.
And it was terrific working with you, Ellie, with Alan Kirschenbaum, Keith Jones, who called all the action, and thank you for joining us for this special night, the special broadcast of Harness Racing 86. It really has been a pleasure to bring you these Breeders' Crown Championship events over the past 3 months. We hope you've enjoyed watching all these great champions perform. And we'd like to pass along our thanks to the Executive Director of the Breeders' Crown, Mr. Tom Charters, who certainly made our job a lot easier. Also to the executives in charge, Andy Grant, Mike Traeger, Jim Wilburn, who made it all possible. Special thanks to producer Bob Rosberg, Director Ralph Mollet, and Sue Belknap. Breeders' Crown 86 has been brought to you by the nationwide investment firm of First Jersey Securities. Come grow with us. By Castleton Farm, a tradition of excellence. And by Garden State Park. Sunset Warrior, Glow Softly, Sugarcane Hanover, and Masquerade. A great finish for the activity here this evening. And of course, we look back at the previous 8 races in the Breeders' Crown Series, and what a series it was. Thanks for being with us.